If you've reached this video now, in this exact window between July 23 and 24, I need to be direct with you. This is not an accident, not an algorithm, not idle curiosity. In the last 3 days, something inside you has changed temperature. A thought came back. A person appeared in your head without asking permission. You woke up at 3-4 in the morning with a tight chest, feeling like you needed to make a decision you've been putting off for weeks, maybe months, maybe years. And at the same time you looked at the ceiling and thought, not today. You ate without hunger, replied to messages on autopilot, smiled at people who weren't really there, and in the pit of your stomach had that uncomfortable feeling of being late for something no one put on your schedule. If this describes your last 3 days with uncomfortable precision, you have just received the first warning that tonight is not like the others. The crescent moon enters a specific configuration between July 23 and 24, and this configuration works as a silent push on people who are still sensitive enough to feel a push. Most will attribute it to stress, the approaching full moon, heavy work, yesterday's argument, the weather. And that is exactly why the window will close for that majority, exactly as it closes every month. You do not belong to that group. If you did, this video would not have held your attention for even 10 seconds. You are part of a small, uncomfortable-to-name minority that possesses the internal infrastructure necessary to recognize a sign when a sign arrives. And what I will unpack here, in the next few minutes, is the complete map of tonight. The 7 things you cannot do before sleeping, the signs your body is already trying to show you, the decision that must be made by dawn on the 24th, and how to protect what changes inside you so that it does not dissolve in tomorrow's breakfast. Stay until the end, because each topic depends on the previous one, and leaving halfway means leaving with half the map. And if at any moment you feel that a specific phrase hit you with surgical precision, comment the word Sinto in the comments, because this works as an energetic marking that you recognize the portal before it closed. Before continuing, I need to dismantle an illusion that has been sold for decades to people seeking real spirituality. The idea that an astral event will descend and solve your life. It won't. A crescent moon is not magic happening to you. It is magic providing structure for you to use. A portal is not a cosmic event that opens the door and pushes you inside. A portal is the exact point where the cost of staying stuck in your current life becomes greater than the terror of taking the next step. You take the step first, and the ground appears afterward, never the opposite. Never. If you are waiting for the universe to place a neon sign above your head saying, "It's now, do this," you will keep waiting in the same chair you're sitting in now, with the same restlessness from 3 days ago, next month, next year, next crescent moon. The moon does not work for you. The moon works with you if you understand that it is a lever, not an elevator. And that is precisely why the crescent phase is the most misinterpreted of all. It does not give you ready-made clarity. It gives you enough internal pressure so that postponed decisions begin to demand an immediate response. This pressure you are feeling in your chest, your jaw, the area behind your eyes, your truncated sleep, your strange appetite, is literally that lever being pulled. And what you do with this pressure in the next hours defines whether this lunation will be just another in your collection of identical months, or whether it will be the dividing milestone that you will look back on 6 months from now and think, that was it. Let's step into the first practical territory, because by now you need to know precisely what your body is telling you. The first sign is a restlessness that appears around 7 or 8 p.m., a feeling that you should be doing something, but you can't quite identify what. You open the fridge without being hungry, pick up your phone for no reason, start 3 tasks, and finish none. This isn't a lack of focus. This is your nervous system recognizing there's a pending decision and trying to make you sit with it. The second sign is a sudden clarity that appears out of nowhere, as if someone opened a window in your head for 3 seconds. You understand something about a relationship, about a job, about a project you've been putting off, and that clarity comes with a slight panic, because now you know. And knowing always carries more responsibility than suspecting. The third sign is a concrete urge to act, not a vague desire to change, but a specific urge to make a call, send a message, cancel a commitment, start a document, write a letter. If that urge appears, comment "Agir" down below, because that is the rising energy passing through you in real time. The fourth sign is a sharper perception of the people around you. You start to sense when someone is lying, when someone is draining you, when a conversation is exhausting you, and this isn't paranoia. It's your sensory filter returning to its natural sensitivity. The fifth sign is the dream. You've probably dreamed of someone from the past few years in the last 3 nights, someone who wasn't part of your conscious thoughts. That kind of dream during the waxing phase works as an energy return. Something is being processed and released. The sixth sign is time behaving strangely. Minutes feeling like hours, hours feeling like minutes, tasks that always took long being done in half the time, and others that were always simple becoming heavy. And the seventh sign, the densest of them all, is an exhaustion that isn't physical fatigue. It's an exhaustion from continuing to be who you were. If you've been feeling tired without being tired, sleeping without resting, waking up defeated, it's because a version of you is dying and you're trying to keep the body running in old mode while the operating system is being swapped from the inside. And it's right here at this point of recognition that most people make the mistake that closes the portal before it's fully open. They feel the signs, are impressed for a day or two, and go back to their normal rhythm without turning any of it into physical movement. That's why I prepared Magia M28 Exercicios, the 28 Chaves do Despertar, a 28-day journey, a complete lunar cycle, made exactly for someone who is feeling everything I just described and knows they need structure, not more loose information. Each day is a practical key, a short, direct exercise to recognize the signs of your soul, integrate the shadows that have been silently sabotaging you, and turn that diffuse restlessness into language, into clarity, into real direction. This isn't a course in decorative spirituality. It's the physical map to cross this window without losing your way and without waking up 3 weeks from now, wondering again why nothing changed. The link and instructions are in the first pinned comment below. And if you already feel you need this structure, comment the word chave right below, because that comment works as your first symbolic step inside the cycle, and the symbolic at this stage precedes the physical by a matter of hours. Returning to the practical ground of the night, there are 7 specific behaviors that completely sabotage what this waxing moon is trying to do in you, and I need to list each one precisely, because a single one of these errors dilutes everything else. The first is ignoring your own intuition. In the next few hours, between now and the moment you close your eyes to sleep, it is highly likely that you will have a certainty without explanation, a clear perception about something that needs to change, about someone who needs to leave your life, about a direction that needs to be taken. And the rational brain will immediately come over with 10 reasons for you to disregard that certainty. Don't do that. Write down the perception, even if it seems absurd. Write it on paper, in the notepad, anywhere. Writing is the first way you respect the signal, and respecting the signal is the first way to keep receiving signals. The second behavior to avoid is continuing to postpone the decision you already know what it is. Everyone has one. You know what yours is. It popped into your head the exact moment I started speaking, and you tried to push it to the end of the video, to tomorrow, to next week. In this phase, postponing is not neutral. Postponing drains. Postponing charges interest. Every day you put off that specific decision, you pay in energy, in sleep, in disposition, in quality of presence, and the price increases exponentially during the waxing days. The third behavior is feeding negative thoughts before sleeping. And here, I need to be precise. I'm not talking about repressing emotion. I'm talking about consciously choosing what you deliver to your unconscious before closing your eyes. During the waxing phase, the unconscious amplifies everything it receives in the 2 hours before sleep. If you deliver resentment, hurt, self-criticism, it amplifies resentment, hurt, self-criticism. If you deliver direction, it amplifies direction. That's how it works mechanically. The fourth behavior is seeking compulsive distractions before sleeping, scrolling social media without thinking, watching 3, 4, 5 automatic videos, consuming random content so you don't have to be alone with your own silence. Compulsive distraction is the most efficient way to close the portal before it finishes opening. because it prevents exactly the moment when the answer appears, the silence before sleep. The fifth behavior is arguing, responding, getting involved in conflicts by text, phone, message in the 2 hours before sleeping. Each conflict in that specific interval anchors an old energetic version of you in the next cycle, and you wake up tomorrow carrying weight you didn't need to carry. The sixth behavior is eating heavy, consuming alcohol in excess, entering states of sensory dulling. In this phase, the body needs the sensitivity that these substances diminish. I'm not asking for purity, I'm asking for awareness. And the seventh behavior, perhaps the most subtle of all, is talking about what you're feeling with the wrong people. There are people in your life who, the moment you share something delicate, treat it as if it were common, banal, exaggerated, all in your head. Tonight, silence protects. It's not time to share, it's time to keep. And if you recognized at least 3 of these 7 behaviors as a pattern of yours in the last few weeks, this is the exact moment when the structure of magic in 28 exercises becomes decisive. Link in the first pinned comment. Now that these errors are mapped, you need to know what to do precisely in the next few hours. And here I'm going to give you a specific nightly ritual that serves exactly for this window between July 23 and 24. A ritual that respects the architecture of the waxing moon and turns reflection into conscious movement. The ritual begins between 1 hour and an hour and a half before the time you normally sleep. You will turn off screens, everything, phone on airplane mode, laptop shut, television off. If you think you can't do it, that is precisely the sign that you need it most. You will find a space in your home that you can call your own for 30 minutes, even if it's the locked bathroom. And you will begin by internally answering one question. What is the decision that I know needs to be made and that I am putting off? You will name that decision out loud, even if only to yourself. Naming is the first act of real existence for anything. While a decision is not named, it hovers. When it is named, it gains location, and a thing that is located can be moved. After naming, you will sit in complete silence for 5 minutes, without trying to meditate, without trying to breathe in any special way, without trying to be spiritual. Just silence. Sitting, eyes closed or open, it doesn't matter. Silence is the solvent that dissolves mental resistance to the decision. 5 minutes seems like little, but for someone who lives surrounded by noise, 5 minutes of real silence reveal more than years of shallow therapy. After the silence, you will take paper and pen, not a phone, not a digital notepad, physical paper, and you will write 3 things: the named decision, a specific intention you declare for this lunation, and what you are willing to leave behind. 1 sentence for each. Don't think too much. Write the first thing that comes. The first thing that comes in this phase is always the truest. After writing, you will declare out loud, again, even if softly, I decide X, I call Y, I leave Z. This verbal declaration is what stitches the symbolic to the physical. And after that you will sleep, without checking your phone, without reading the news, without consuming anything else. And this is where most people will give up, because it seems too simple to work. That is the trap of the modern mind, which confuses complexity with effectiveness. What works is almost always simple. What is difficult is the discipline to do it. And if you are starting to realize that you need a sequence of videos to accompany you beyond this lunation, you need to know that this channel works as a continuous map, not as standalone videos. Each video is a specific coordinate within a larger map of the awakening journey. If you are not subscribed, you will receive loose pieces without the context that gives them meaning. The next videos show what happens after this specific window, and losing the sequence means losing the fit. And now we've reached the dense point of this transmission, the real turning point. Between the 23rd and the 24th of July, there is a specific window, and that window works as a symbolic portal to close cycles of doubt. You will not have total clarity. That's not what the waxing phase delivers. What it delivers is enough courage to choose without having full clarity. And said like that, it bothers most people, because most people want to choose with a guarantee. They want to know it will work out before they act. They want the mapped-out scenario, the calculated risks, the projected return. That mindset works well for financial investments, and poorly for pretty much everything else that matters in life. No decision that changed your trajectory up to now was made with a guarantee. You know that. You look back at the moments when your life truly changed, and all of them have one thing in common. You chose without knowing. You chose the relationship without knowing. You chose the job without knowing. You chose the move without knowing, and it's always afterward that the map draws itself. It's always afterward. The mistake you've been making, and I say this precisely because it's the structural error of our generation, is believing there is a version of life where you make big decisions with total certainty. That version doesn't exist. It never existed. It will keep not existing. And while you wait for that version, your time slips away, your energy dilutes, your window keeps closing. The decision you need to make before dawn on the 24th is not the decision to solve your entire life. It is a specific, small, physical, concrete decision that symbolically represents the larger movement. It could be the decision to send a message you've been avoiding. It could be scheduling an appointment. It could be canceling a commitment that drains you. It could be starting to write that text. It could be saying no for the first time to someone who always heard yes. It could be saying yes for the first time to yourself. The size of the decision doesn't matter. What matters is that it is specific, physical, executable within 24 hours. Symbolically, a small move in the waxing phase is worth more than a planned revolution that never happens in the waning phase. And here is the hardest point of this entire transmission. If you've come this far and still haven't decided, if you're still calculating, still negotiating with yourself, the portal is already calculating with you. It doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. It passes. And when it passes, you stay in the exact same restlessness, with the same feeling of being behind, waiting for the next cycle, which will arrive in 28 days and will find you exactly where it found you today, except 28 days older, more tired, more aware that you didn't act. That's why I prepared Magia M28 exercicios with a 28-day structure, 1 day for each exercise, 1 exercise for each layer of your transformation. Because a decision without structure becomes regret in a week, and a structure without a decision becomes theory on a shelf. The course exists, so you don't become either one. The 28 keys are 28 concrete acts, not 28 vague meditations, and if you feel this is the time, the link with all the information is in the first pinned comment right below this video. If you open the link and still hesitate, it's the portal telling you the decision needs to be now, not tomorrow, because tomorrow is already the 24th, and the energy of this specific configuration does not repeat. And after making the decision, after naming, writing, declaring, sleeping with the intention planted, there is one final layer of this transmission that almost nobody teaches, and it is responsible for 90% of aborted cycles of transformation: the protection of what changes. An internal change in the first 72 hours is as fragile as a newborn. It needs silence. It needs darkness. It needs an environment free from interference. And the classic mistake, which sabotages so many good people, is going around telling people. You make an important decision, feel that wave of new energy, and immediately want to share it with someone to validate the decision. Don't do it. For the next 72 hours at least, keep it to yourself. Don't tell your partner, don't tell your close friend, don't tell your mother, don't tell your therapist yet, don't tell your group. Not because these people are bad, but because every person you tell, even with the best of intentions, will give you back their version of your decision. And their version is contaminated by their fears, their experiences, their doubts. And your field, still fragile, absorbs that contamination. And before you know it, you're more confused than you were before you decided. The people who love you, specifically because they love you, tend to protect you from risks you need to take. That's the nature of love, that's the nature of protection. But in this phase, you don't need protection. You need silence. Silence is the field in which the new takes root. Premature sharing is the wind that tears out the root before it can take hold. Keep it. Write down what you feel. Journal it. But don't speak it. Don't post it. Don't tell. And every time you feel that almost compulsive urge to tell someone, breathe. And remember that this urge to tell is precisely the sign that the change is trying to escape the internal process before its time. The urge to share is an escape from the responsibility of holding it alone. Holding it alone for 72 hours is what separates those who change from those who only seem like they're going to change. And after those 72 hours, you'll notice the decision is stronger, more rooted, more yours. Only then, little by little, do you begin to act from it. And people perceive it through behavior, not through narrative. And that is infinitely more powerful than any speech you could have given. And if you made it this far, if you held your attention to this specific point in the transmission, that is no coincidence. It is a sign. You are not random in this video, and this video is not random in your evening. What you have just received was the preparation, the revelation of what this specific decision means for the next 90 days of your life, and how to use each of the following lunar phases to consolidate exactly what you started today is in the next video that will now appear on the screen. Click on it before you do anything else. The first 60 seconds of the next video show what happens inside you after you take the first step tonight. And that is where the timeline you enter, starting tomorrow, defines itself. Don't close the video. Don't go to another tab. Don't open social media. Click on the video that will appear there. It is the direct continuation of this map, and without it, you are left with the decision, but no path. See you on the other side.